previous lecture we actually focused on creating some basic logic for the chatbot, that is actually fetching some cat images, fetching some random codes using APIs. So basically in this lecture we're going to focus on adding some personality in some simple structural code. That is, we want our chatbot to be able to understand when a user says something that it does not understand, how is it going to respond to it. Like for example, in the previous lecture, if the user actually says something that the chatbot was not actually configured to answer, it would actually crash, and then it didn't even know like how to handle these errors. So in this lecture we're going to focus on how to handle errors in a chatbot such that our program does not crash, but it actually knows how to respond and handle to different errors done by the user. So first of all, make sure you have logged into your Twilio account. So I've opened my Twilio account. You navigate to WhatsApp Sandbox. To navigate to WhatsApp Sandbox, you just click on messaging and then come to settings and then WhatsApp Sandbox settings, and then make sure you're also logged to your Twilio account, your ngrok account. Just type ngrok.com and then click on login, and then you can actually log into your ngrok account. And then I've got my WhatsApp web here just to showcase what I'll be doing. So what I did first, just before I started this lecture, I actually fired my ngrok. So for demonstration purposes, I would actually delete. What I want you to do first is actually navigate to your C drive, navigate to your users, navigate to your name here, and then find a folder called .ngrok2, open it, and then click on this XML file or YAML file, just delete it. Okay, so what you're going to do next, so this is actually where we left off. Sorry, let me close this. Okay, so what you're going to do next, we're actually going to fire up our terminal. So I'll open it here. Since we had actually ngrok running from the previous lecture, I'm just going to stop it here. Close this terminal, actually close this also, and then what I'll do is I'll actually navigate to where my ngrok is. It's actually documents, then bootcamp, lecture 3, ngrok stable windows. I'll just click shift, right click, or you can actually just type here cmd if you remember from the last lectures. So just click shift, right click, and then open Windows Terminal. And then what I want you to write is actually say ngrok auth token, and then go to your dashboard of ngrok, go to your auth token, and actually copy your auth token here. Just click copy, and then go back, space, paste that, press enter. As you can see, auth token saved to configuration file. Then type ngrok to start the server HTTP 5000. Flask runs on 5000. Press enter. Okay, now let's copy this code right here. This is now our URL, and then let's go to Twilio and then just paste it on your URL here and just slash SMS. So this is actually our route that we actually defined in the code. Just press save. Okay, so to test, first of all, you actually have to join your sandbox. So just copy this message, the message that you have for the code. I'll copy mine, then I'll go to my web interface, just paste it, then enter. Okay, my sandbox is now active. So what I'm going to do, what I need you to do first is actually to change this media cat is equals to response.message, and then just delete it. I'll show you a better way to do this later. Just delete it and then just leave it as response is equals to messaging response. Okay, so how are we going to make our chatbot actually respond to a user who actually said something that is not actually in its code. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to make some utilization of some Boolean variables. So by Boolean, we're either talking of true or false. So the trick that we're going to use here, we're just going to make sure that if the chatbot actually responds to a user, if a user actually sends a message, for example, like quote, a message which has quote in it, and if the chatbot is actually responds to the user, we have to mark our Boolean with true. For example, create a Boolean called respond is equals to true. So whenever the chatbot actually responds to the user with a message, we're going to change the variable state to true. And then if the chatbot actually responds, for example, to this cat session, we are going to also respond to the user and change the variable state to true. However, if we do not get cat in our message that we receive from the user, or get quote in the message that we receive from our user, we are going to change this value to false. And then we're going to write also a function which actually checks if this value is true or false, and if it's false, we're going to respond with a certain message. So this may sound tedious and scary just because I'm explaining it, but let me show you what I mean. So what I'm going to do, so let's comment this out first. Edit, toggle and comment. Sorry. If you don't want to go to edit, toggle and comment, what you can do is just add a hash here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a state variable. I'll call it respond, and then I'm going to assign it a value of false. We're saying for the meantime respond is false because nothing is happened to actually defining it. So now if quote in message.lower here, we're actually going to check if there is quote in the message that we receive from the user, and then we're fetching this content, and then we're responding to the user, and we are returning the response. So what we want to do is after we return a respond, we want to set this variable respond to true. So we're actually saying the chatbot has actually responded. So yeah, and that's actually basically true. And then if we manage to get a cat image, it shows that the chatbot has actually responded to the user, which is true. So we're going to set this respond is equals to true. Then we're going to actually look if we don't actually get this response, like if a user doesn't send a message which contains cat or doesn't contain quote, so the response is going to be false. Sorry, here system Java code, let's just take true. Okay, so what we're going to do is actually going to write another if statement along line with the if statement, this conditional statements that we're actually doing. So what you're going to do is say if respond, which is our variable here, is equal to false, we do a double equal sign, or you can actually use a Python function which makes it easier. You can actually say if not respond, which is a variable, it just assigns to if respond is equal to false. And then what you want to do, you want to do a response, which is resp, which we actually defined at the top here, which is the messaging response. And then we're going to say response dot message. What do you want to message? Sorry, I could not understand. Try again. Or maybe an informative message, just depends on what you like. And then we need to return it. Return str response. Okay, so believe it or not, that's actually it. So let's actually check it. So I'll run my saver flask run. Make sure your ngrok is actually running, so you can see mine is running here. Okay, For example, maybe you've actually closed your project. I'll take that into consideration. Maybe you've actually closed your project, and you need to reactivate. Maybe the virtual environment did not activate itself. Just click on terminal and then open the terminal, like in here. And then if you're using bash like me, you say source, and then the name of our Python environment, which is chatbot, and then /scripts /activate. Okay, and then if you are using cmd, obviously it will be the default one. If you actually open the terminal in Visual Studio, what you can actually do is just put the name, which is chatbot, and then /scripts, and then /activate. That's what you can do if you're using cmd, and then you'll be able to activate your virtual environment. So let me run the save again, flash run. Okay, so it's running. So let's go and check. Say quote. Okay, it's working. Can I have a quote? Just checking. Another quote, please. Actually, to make this interesting, if you're actually using this API for quotes, you can actually integrate it maybe with the author. Like you want your user to have the quote first, and then the person will actually say it like at the bottom. So you will see all this when you're actually using advanced APIs, but you can actually utilize this API. Just read the documentation of this API. Remember, the API is here. It's here. So it can actually tell you how you can actually also get the name. Here we're just getting the content. Remember from the last tutorial I explained, we're just getting the content. So you can also say results _ object, and then also get the author if you want. I can just say, you can just copy this code if you want the author based on the JSON file, for example, and then just say author, and then here author, and then you actually have to combine these two messages into a single message, and then or you can actually log them all, like response.message code, response.message author, like response.message author. So this is just an example. I don't know if it will work, since I did not look at the JSON object, but I'm just showing you how you can actually gather different information. This is just an example. It might work. It might not work. I have a code. So I'll actually show you how to actually go through this in the upcoming. Oh, it worked. Friends, the siblings God never gave us, by Mencius. As you can see, it's actually logging the author here. Or what you can do is you can actually say, to minimize this, actually say, let's not do this. You can actually say results object content, and then plus, and then let's have a new line. So just put a \n, and then plus, and then by, and then colon, and then plus, then just say results _ object, and then reference the author here. So I'm just testing out here. So let's see if it actually works. As you can see, it says a string part cannot include a backslash, so it actually quotes there. So yeah, we'll show you how to actually deal with these errors later. So I'm just doing a test run, see if it works. Sorry, I'm opening the wrong browser. So record, see if it does not give us any error. Okay, whoever is happy will make others happy too by Mark Twain. Okay, so what we really want to test here is actually if a user actually sends a random message which is not actually aligned with this. So what we're actually checking for in a user's message is quote in their message and also cat in their message, and if not, respond is going to be false here and it should reply with this. So let me check it. I'll just type in Stanley, my name. Okay, it responded, so I could not understand. Try again. So we have added some logic here, and then let me just type gibberish, press enter. So I could not understand it, so we did it by just using a simple variable. We have managed to actually add logic to our chatbot, and it's not now, it's like not crashing right now. It's not crashing at all. As you can see, the server is still running, and then it's able to respond to any random message that it gets. It only makes sense like when a user actually sends a message that it actually understands, like the message that we actually told it to answer, and if it does not get that message, it's going to respond with sorry, I could not understand, try again. So yeah, give yourself a pat on the back and a cup of coffee if you have one, because this has been a very long series, by the way, and we're still going. Okay, so I believe this lecture is done, and then following this lecture is actually going to be our main project, which is a medical project. So what are we going to do in this medical project? I'll just give you a glimpse of what we're going to do. So this medical project is actually going to be focused on COVID-19, since we're actually facing COVID-19 right now. So what is this medical project going to do? It's going to be an enterprise level and industry level medical project. It's going to focus on giving users, it's going to let users get results pertaining to COVID, and then it's also going to give users COVID statistics here globally or by country. Sort of like a user has to specify, maybe for example, COVID results for Zimbabwe, COVID results for China, and they'll get it. And then if the user just says COVID results, and then the user will actually get COVID results for the whole world, which is globally. And then it's also going to give guidelines. Because I'm going to give guidelines for COVID-19. Like if a user sends a keyword saying guide or a guide for COVID, it will actually give the users a guide for COVID-19. It's also going to have a functionality for booking sessions with doctors, and then it's also going to have a functionality for consultations with doctors, and then also going to have a functionality for drug analysis. Users are able to analyze what's in their drug, like pills. They can just put a pill and then they can get the analysis. And then it's also going to have functionality for disease diagnosis, and then it's also going to give patients the capability to search diseases. They can be able to search diseases and get information pertaining to diseases. And then it will also give users the ability to actually search symptoms of a certain disease. It's also going to allow users to be able to search causes of a certain disease. It's also going to we talked about it, disease analysis, COVID analysis. Okay, so it's going to be a big project. As you can see, there's a lot of functionality that you won't actually get anyway. So this is going to be our first big and mega project in the medical industry for COVID-19. So I hope you're prepared for this project. I'm also pumped up for it, so I hope you're pumped up also. So this is going to be our next big project that we're going to dive into. We're going to get and code all this functionality with you so that you can actually have a solid bot to put in your portfolio, to showcase to employers, or to even sell to actually customers, and you can actually have the knowledge to create more advanced chatbots like this. Of course, we're not actually going to use AI and machine learning on this project so far, but we're going to utilize an API that we actually created on our own. It's a common API we actually created, so we'll teach you about the API endpoint, and then we'll teach you how to actually utilize that API to make our chatbot do all this stuff and many more. And then some of the functionality will actually add them as we're actually creating the project. So thank you for watching this tutorial, and have a great day.